Good morning, Rabbi Isai. לעילוי נשמת אימי Mesirus Nefesh Mordechai. We'll say a kapitel Tehillim. Shir Amalo Ismima Makim Prosicho Adonai. Adonai Shema B'Koili Tienos Nevo Gashuvo Is L'Koi Tachanunai. Im Avoino Is Tishmorio Adonai Mi Amoy. Kim Chas Lichol Lemanti Borei. Kivisi Adonai Kivson Nafshi V'Ledvorei Cholti. Nafshi L'Adonai Shemrim L'Aboyke Shemrim L'Aboyke. Yachel Yisrael L'Adonai Kim Adonai Yachesed V'Arbei Mo Yifedus. V'Hu Yivdes Yisrael Mikol Abenimso. Acheinu Kol Beis Yisrael Aninsulam L'Tzoro V'Shivyo. Oim dem bein bayom ubein bayom bosho amok yirachem aleim yitzim ritzol levochom afel loyro mishiv legulo hashto bagadov zman koriv nimar omein. Today's shir, of course, is sponsored again for all those who are injured, all those who are in captivity. They should come home in one piece. Rufus hanefesh, rufus haguf, and all the neshamas that were lost. Torah gives us geschmack, gives us a better mood, and a lot of us, again, don't know how to help. We want to help. Everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to participate. And one way we know how to do it is by learning Torah l'schusam. You say, I'm learning Torah, I'm doing this daf in their schus, and it's better than Tehillim, better than anything. Of course, it's a kapitel Tehillim. They say, I remember they were saying in the Yom Kippur War, the Gedolei Adar said to say Kapitel Tzadik Aleph, Kuf Lamed, and Kuf Mem Beis. Those are the ones that are important for today. Somebody sent in emails. I'll read it soon. This is from Elimelech Reich from Kiryas Yoel. Hi, Rebelli, with everything which has been going on since Yom Tov, I was very concerned about your well-being, you and your family, wondering every day if you're safe and healthy, and whether there will be shir or not. Although I've only joined a few months ago in the beginning of Kiddushin, I've become addicted to the shir and I feel I'm part of the mishpacha. So first of all, Nachamal. Baruch Hashem, I'm healthy and safe and sound, and so is every single person in my family. Baruch Hashem. I had to attend a family matter, and now that brought me here to Chicago. I'm in Chicago, and I'll be here at least until the Shabbaton, which is in 2 weeks. So thanks for the concern. Thanks for the well wishes, but Baruch Hashem, everything is great. Now, when I see that you're finally safe in Chicago, Baruch Hashem, I must tell you how impressed I am with the level of your dedication, committed to share, to teach Torah to Klal Yisrael. Thanks. It's truly inspired to see that despite all of the tragedies and distractions, many of which I can't even imagine, the daily living at Torah was and is your number one priority, and you made sure to give share every single day under the most challenging conditions. Yes, I have to say that these were the last week, just because of the traveling and the locations that I was in and everything else. There's a lot of challenging times. I said in the middle of the shir, right before we had to get onto a flight. So a number of stories. There was one disaster after another, which made it even more challenging. Some of them I shared with the shir. Some of them I don't know if I did or not. But one of them was that I left my laptop outside and rain came and destroyed my laptop. So I couldn't do any whatever. Then we got another laptop and it wasn't set up correctly. Still isn't set up. At one point, I had to get up really early in the morning to prepare shir, and the taxi was waiting to take me and my family to the airport. So I said, don't wait for me, eat breakfast, everything. I don't need to eat. I'm just going to give shir. I finish shir and I come around and look at the camera and it says no memory space. So does that mean I have to record the whole shir? Baruch Hashem, it recorded like 2/3 of the shir, let's say. So I had to go back and do that, and they're waiting. And let's go. We're gonna be late. That was one. Then in the stop in Switzerland, I said, okay, we had a 3-hour stop, so I could perhaps give shir. It won't be the best shir in the world, but I need a place. Like, where am I gonna do in the middle of the airport? Found this. It's called the Transit Hotel. Never been in one. no bathrooms. There's like a communal bathroom for the men, and in the communal bathroom, there's showers. They give this little dollar al dollar. It's enough room for a bed. I showed it in the shir. So I'm all excited. I'm going to give shir there. I gave shir, opened up the window so you can see the planes come in, out. I don't know what they saw, what they didn't see. And the quality of the video is not bad. I come after shir, not like, okay, now I got to plug it in and upload it. But I have a new computer and this doesn't have a USB port. So it can't read my card. So I run to the airport and now I have to catch my flight. They don't sell this C to USB connector. So I did all this and I said, if I can't upload it, it's going to be another 14 hours until I get to Chicago. From Switzerland to Chicago is like 11 hours, plus, the taxi, this, that, until the Kachava. I couldn't upload it. On the plane, I'm asking people, you have it? Nobody had it. So that was it. One disaster after another. It was unbelievable. But anyway, you don't have to hear all these things. It was just challenging, to say the least, to say shiurim by yourself in a room and not a single listener, nothing, no participation from the chevra, good and bad. Even the people that are talking, have to yell at them. That also adds a little bit flavor to this year. Okay, so here we go. It's not about the daf, it's about the Yomi. May Hashem look down from Shemayim and see the dedication to the Torah and protect all of Klal Yisrael. Should all be to be part of the Gula Shalom b'meher remain amen. Ki malach yitzal l'shmorcha v'chol d'rechecha shenishma min etzbas b'suras toivas yeshua in achamis amen ba'arotza yididcha Eli melech reich kiryas yoel yishukayach. Sadly, I saw that you were in Zurich and gave a shir at the airport. We would have loved to set you up at my home or anyone that is shir in Zurich. Please let us know the next time you're here. Yeah, like I said, I barely had time to go into a room over there, let alone go out into Zurich. Have a safe trip and call to Arya Levy. I'm glad to see Reb Stefansky is back on schedule. I found today's Daf Kiddushin Samach Zayin unwatchable with the lighting. So we had one disaster where the camera did everything very bright. Another disaster, everything did very dark. And it's my fault because I did the wrong settings. May all Klal Yisrael have a complete refuah from our situation. Mike Harrison, Boynton Beach, Florida. I apologize that it's not watchable. You guys watched live. Those guys, I don't know what happened. Okay. Good morning, Rebelli. Your Mesirus Nefesh. Okay, Shkoyach is inspiring me. We're all saying a lot of Tehillim. I'd like to humbly suggest that this time we should dive in by reciting Kapitel Kuf Mem. It appears to be written for this particular Yimach Shemam Zichram Soine. It says like this. Chatzene Hashem me'odam ra. Mishcha mosim tinsreini. Chamos. Asher choshvu rois belev kol yoy migurim l'chama yishon l'shon k'men nochosh, like a snake. And it says all the way at the end, Ish loshim bal yikoim ba'oretz ish chamos ra yitzudeno l'chefas yidati ki Hashem dino. Okay, very nice. May Hashem can be marbet story b'teferes tamid choshmul molar yishkoyach. Now this I found very interesting. Good morning, Rebelli. I joined the Holy MDY after watching the latest talks podcast. That's the podcast in Yiddish. So I'm happy. A few people came over to me. Hasidim told me that they watch it and they joined the shir because of it. It's always inspiring to hear that those things work. I didn't waste my time with them. It was good. Adaf, when did he started right away? Because I said over there, you got to start when you have the inspiration. Adaf Amud Beis of Kiddushin. And I can say that I almost don't miss a daf. I'm a Hasidic man, don't have access to the web in my house, so I go to a filtered kiosk to watch the shir. So I want to say, first of all, a huge thank you for making me so connected to the Torah. Because till now, even though that I'm learning with Bachrim the whole day, I'm just connecting to the Bachar, not with the Torah itself. And now it's the first time ever that I have my own limud and a kesher to the Torah Akdosha. And this is fully your credit, so thank you. And it's possible I'm not the only one that's watching at a filtered kiosk, and it costs about $5 an hour. So it comes out to about $150 a month. So he wants to donate to another Hasidic young man who wants to go to a filtered kiosk that he's going to sponsor his $150 a month. Have a wonderful day, Mordechai Geller. You hear this? Mordechai Geller. Shkoyach. It's hard to hear that. We don't understand. We don't live in that. It's unbelievable. A lot of times these people come, they say they have these little phones, the flip phones. They say, we can't watch the shir. They listen to the shir. So, but the whole shir is visual. You don't see the cartoons. You don't see the charts. Garbage. They listen. We have to get that tablet going. So Rabbi Isai, Today was a gewaldige day. It gave me a lot of chizuk because it was a little dry the last few days. Today, I think over 20 rooms were sold, which is good news. One of the most heartwarming things was that Shimi Leifman from London, from Manchester, I should say, from Manchester, is coming with his wife. To me, that's a tremendous chizuk. I think Doyle wants to get to know him. He's a big character. He's going to be screaming out, "Get over here!" You know, the whole zach. And that he's coming is tremendous. And Rabbi Bleich, the head rabbi of Ukraine, signed up today. So, big chizuk. Reb Zalman Twersky didn't sign up yet, but he's coming. And a bunch of other people. So, Yishkoyach. The other thing is that Nissan Gantz pressed me. He said, you know, you mentioned once in the shir that you yourself will give money to Rabbeim. So I said, okay, we'll give like $300. He said, no, it's not enough. If they give $500, okay, fine. $500 I am giving for the first 10 Rabbeim. Even Koil guys. I want to have a mixture of all types of people. Koil people, Rabbeim. First 10 Rabbeim I will give from my own account $500. Also, another thing, Yossi Klein, I don't have the video with me because I don't have WhatsApp on this computer. He put out a video yesterday asking people to have achdus and to help the people that can't come. And sure enough, a lot of people stepped up to the plate and sent in money specifically to sponsor and to help people come. It doesn't mean a full sponsorship, but to just relieve some of the load. All right. So, with that being said, the Masechta is sponsored by the Lakewood and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because torah and achdus are the best segula. Pesach Kahana, nishmat Yosef, Pesach Kahana, Hatzlocha L'zechus Yosef Mayer ben Rochel and yidden worldwide. Yaakov Schreiber on my 30th birthday, in appreciation of my wife for dedication and Mesirus Nefesh. Yes, it's hard. I don't know what the dedication of Mesirus Nefesh. I can imagine when you allow your husband to go learn at the wrong times, at the times that are hard. That's dedication of Mesirus Nefesh, and that was part of the reason why we wanted to do this whole Shabbos, to celebrate the women of MBY, and Beis Hashem will do so. But don't forget, it's going to be, we're switching slightly, it's going to be a major Shabbos of Chizuk. Pesach Kahana, Lili Nishmas Avi Mori, Reuven Gershon and Shabbos Tzemach HaKohen, whose 35th yahrzeit is Hey Cheshvan. And Parnas HaShavua, MDY headquarter coffee, corner, and beverages. Lili Nishmas Tzipar Fega, Basar Tuvia, Zechron Rochel. The art of the month, Yosef and Chayesara, for all the schusim that come from supporting Billyack torah. Okay, Rabbi Sai, we're here, like 4 lines from the bottom of Samach Zayin Amud Beis. Samach Ches Amud Beis is shorter. Amud, you can see. So it goes like this. We're discussing that certain situations, certain Kiddushin, or I should say, marriages that the Kiddushin doesn't work. If it's a Kiddushin that's an Aveira, how do you know that the Kiddushin doesn't grab? So yesterday we had a Mamatzino. We find by a Chos Isha like this, so it should be the same by all other Arayas. The Gemara says, you know, Mamatzino is easy to get rid of. So how do you know at the end of the day other Arayas? And that's today's sugya. Elam Rabbi Yoina v'Seim Ravuna Breder Yeshua Makro. At the end of the parsha of Arayas, when the Torah discusses all the different Arayas, a sister, a mother, or this or that, it says anybody that does any of these terrible things, abominations, at the this chorus. But the Torah lumps them all into one category. So therefore, hukshu kol arayis, and that's the big key word here, hukshu, because yesterday we were talking about a mematzinu, and a mematzinu you can knock off, but a hekesh you can't just say, oh, it's not similar. Too bad if it's not similar. They're all in a hekesh. So we say, just like if you try to marry your wife's sister, there's no Kiddushin. So too, all other arayos, not because of a memetzinu, because we find it by a choisisha, but rather because of a hekesh. Because they are all connected with a hekesh, and a hekesh you can't break. So therefore, all the arayos in the Torah, you try to marry your sister, you give her a ring, it doesn't work. There's zero Kiddushin. That's all we're trying to figure out today. That there's no Kiddushin when it comes to arayos. Says the Gemara, Afilu nida nami. So according to this, Daf Samach Amud Aleph, a nida, who's one of the arayos, comes out that there shouldn't be Kiddushin. You try to marry a nida, and there's such a thing, there's something called the chupas nida today. If it just so happens to be that the kal is a nida, and Kiddushin does grab. Imagine if it didn't grab. Imagine if the Kiddushin of a nida didn't grab. What would happen, Rabbi Isai? What?
Be a fake wedding.
And therefore what?
Do it again.
But think about what would happen, the consequences. If you have... No, I'm talking about something really serious now.
Can't do it.
What about non-religious Jews that live together and they're not makbid on nida? According to what we just said, that the Mishnah says, the Mishnah, if there's no Kiddushin, then the outcome of that union is mamzerus. That's what the Mishnah says. So that's the Gemara's question. If you tell me all our rights doesn't have Kiddushin, and therefore the kid of, if a person, that we understand, if a person has relations with a sister, the kid is a mamzer. Why is a nida different than a sister? She's also in the same parsha. And if there's no Kiddushin that's typhus, then the kid should be a mamzer. So it comes out that in Eretz Yisrael today, Rahman al-Islan, we have 500,000 mamzerim running around. And then they become Bali Tshuva. Doesn't help. They're still mamzerim. So obviously that's not the case. We need to understand why. Alma, Aloma, Amarabayo, top line of Samaches, Hakol Moedim Bebal Anida, Bala Soida Shein of Lad Mamzer. Baruch Hashem, they're not mamzerim. They might have something called a benida, but it's not the end of the world. It's a little bit of a b'gam maybe, but not something that people are even makbid today on. Okay, it's about tshuva. So not a mamzer. You wouldn't be able to marry a Baal Tshuva if that was the case. Or at least a Baal Tshuva that a lot of people in Israel, believe it or not, a lot of non-associated yidden are makbid. So, no, I was just saying that in Eretz Yisrael, I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that are almost unaffiliated, but they're makbid on that. They're makbid. So it doesn't mean everybody that's not religious is automatically a benida or whatever, but let's assume that half are not makbid, and then you have a big problem of mamzerus. But the Gemara says they're not mamzer. We have to understand why. Abai says they're not mamzer. Why? This is referring to a husband that's with his wife that's a nida. So he has the halachas of a nida. He becomes a nida. He becomes tummy nida. He's tummy for 7 days. The whole thing. But the Gemara darshans usini dasa Allah. Afidu b'shasni dasa tehei bo havaya usihi, as we're going to see, b'hoiso usihi. These are all the shoynas of Kiddushin, and that the Kiddushin is chal on a nida. So again, going back, it's step by step. If there's Kiddushin, then there's no mamzeros. If there's no Kiddushin, then there's mamzeros. We know today there is something called the chupas nida. So why? Because the pasuk says the Kiddushin is grabs on a nida. Afilu b'shas nidas neba avaya. Okay, so then the Gemara asks a question. We just said that we compare all the arayos in the Torah to achoisisha, to the wife, to the sister of your wife, and there's no Kiddushin. But one of the arayos is called nida, and there is Kiddushin. So why compare all the arayos to the bad stuff compared to the good one? Says Gemara, says Gemara, kula v'chumra l'chumra makshinon. So we have a klal in the Torah. If you could compare something to the kal or the chaymer, you do to the chaymer, you do to the chumrah. What's the chumrah over here in Mamzerus? We say that all our rayas of the torah are compared to chaysisha, and the vlad is a mamzer, and we don't compare to nida where the vlad is kosher. Rav Achav says, I have a kavachaymer from Yevama. When it comes to a Yevama, there's a lav, so let's see the pasuk here. It says, this is the idea of a yibum, and one of the brothers dies and he doesn't have children. Again, I don't have my Barilan on this computer, so that's why it's interesting font. So it says loisia. Again, sia means kiddushin. There's no kiddushin if she tries to get married to somebody else before she does chalitza, before this yibum, loisia. There's no kiddushin. So umay yivam shibalav says loisia. Loitavs kiddushin chayve misas chayve krisus likolchkin. If a yivam is only a lav and it doesn't grab, so certainly when there's a chi of kares by the other eyes, a chi of kares and even misa. So certainly you shouldn't grab Kiddushin. So when we say, let's do a mamatzino, compare it to all the other labim. It said, okay, we're talking about arayas over here. All the arayas, the Kiddushin doesn't work. There's no effect. You could give her a ring and it's zero. As a Gemara, but if all arayas, it doesn't work, so then all the chayvei lavim, when you have something that's not arayas, it's a lav, an isser to marry so-and-so. Yeah, like a kohen gadol cannot marry an almana. A kohen can't marry grusha. It's not arayas. It's an isser lav. So all the isser lavim in the Torah should say the same thing, that the Kiddushin shouldn't grab. And we hold that the Kiddushin does grab, right? At least not according to Rabbi Kiva. Says the Gemara a very interesting thing. It says in the pasuk, the famous pasuk in Parashat Kisei, a person has two wives, one that he loves and one that he hates. So what is the pasuk saying? That when you have an inheritance, it doesn't matter if you hate her or love her, the b'char gets two portions. Now the question is, what difference does it make to the Rebbeinu Shloim whether you hate your wife or not? Obviously, if you hate your wife, it doesn't make a difference to the rules and the halachas of Yerusha. Ella, Ahuva, and just derech hagav. It's not the real pshat here in the Gemara, but it says mufurish here in the Gemara. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves every yid. There's no such thing as HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't love a yid. You could be a yid that does a lot of averis. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates the averis. He doesn't hate the person. He doesn't hate the yid. It says mufurish, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves them all. That's not the pshat in the Gemara. The Gemara means is just because the man hates his wife doesn't mean that Hashem cares about the halacha. It's the same halacha when it comes to Yerusha, whether you hate your wife or not. Akopanim, there is a snua and ahuva here. El ahuva ben Yisuel, snua ben Yisuel. It's not referring to the husband's love and hate. It's referring to Hashem's love and hate to the act. That this marriage Hashem is not happy with. Again, when there's a kiddushin, siena means kiddushin, between a man that has a hated marriage, meaning Hashem is not pleased with his marriage. Hashem said, do not marry that woman, and you married her. But there is kiddushin. Kiddushin grabs. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to divorce her. You can't stay married to her. If you're a kohen, you cannot be married to a divorcee. You have a problem. But if you do marry her, the Kiddushin grabs, and Hashem just doesn't like it. That's what the pasuk is saying. He married two women. One is a good Kiddushin, one is a not a good Kiddushin. But it's a Kiddushin. Asking Moral Kiva, according to Rikiva, that says that there is no Kiddushin when it comes to regular Aveira. So then how does he explain the pasuk? Who's the hated one? We just explained the hated one is the person that has an avera, marry her. But according to Rabbi Akiva, there is no Kiddushin, doesn't grab it all. Says Gemara, yes, there is a case where it grabs. The Kiddushin does grab, he's just doing a terrible thing. So this, Rabbi says, is a freebie for us. We had this literally word for word almost like 3-4 days ago. Rabbi Akiva made every single Asur relation into Mamzerus. Even everyone that the Torah says you're not allowed to marry, let's say Machzik Rushasa, right? You're not allowed to remarry your wife, your ex, after she gets married to somebody. And if you do, Rabbi Akiva says the kid will be a mamzer. Min hakol hayos Rabbi Akiva mamzer. Chutz min alman al kohen gadol. One case. Shari Omer Torah lo yichalel chilul enoisa v'enoisa mamzeros. That when a kohen gadol marries an almana, the kid is not a mamzer. The kid is called a chalal. So what does that mean? Again, so let's do the cheshbon again. If the kid is not a mamzer, you put an equal sign afterwards, and that means what? The Kiddushin was good. They're interconnected. If the Kiddushin is not good, the kid is a mamzer. The Kiddushin is good, the kid is not a mamzer. So if I tell you that a kohen gadol who marries an almana, the kid is not a mamzer, the kid is a chalal, that automatically tells me that's a good Kiddushin. So Nachamal. According to Rabbi Akiva, this kisiyena l'ishtei noshim, v'achas ahuva v'achas nua. The question is, according to Rabbi Akiva, how do you have a situation where a person gets married and the Kiddushin is a good Kiddushin, like Kosh Baruch Hu was upset at him, it's a sanui, this marriage is a hated marriage. According to Rabbi Akiva, all these marriages, the kids are mamzerim. In other words, equal sign, no Kiddushin. So how's it possible that you have a Kiddushin, you're married, and it's a good Kiddushin, you made the Sheva brachas and everything, and it works, just Hashem is upsetting. Oh, there's one case. If it's an almana to kohen gadol, and that Rabbi Akiva agrees that the kid is not a mamzer, and Hashem is upset. That's the case. So remember, Mamash had this word for word. Rabbi Sheva says, let's scream in Al-Kiva ben Yosef. And I said then, Pshat, I'll say it again. What's this nitzvach? Let's scream. What are you screaming? Because he wanted to get more people on his side, because the halach is always like Rabbi Akiva. When Rabbi Akiva is against one person, Rabbi Akiva wins. Unless there's a group of people against him. So he says, let's get together more people, and we'll be able to knock out Rabbi Akiva. They were very bothered by this. That Rabbi Akiva is increasing mamzerim in Klal Yisrael. Like we said before, imagine if a ben nid is a mamzer. You have hundreds of thousands, if not more, millions. Why? Because the next generation also becomes mamzerim. So all Friday yidden are mamzerim. That would be a big problem. People scream in the streets. That's what he's saying here. What you're doing now is creating a lot of mamzerim in Klal Yisrael. We don't want mamzerim. We want to say that the chalalim, okay? That's a different story. Yeah? Because think about it. How many kohanim are there in Eretz Yisrael today that are unaffiliated? And they married grushas. And according to you, a kid of a grusha is a mamzer. You're saying no. That's why we have to say no. Not that. Besides that, let's limit the mamzer. Again, word for word like we had before. If Rochel is just coming to argue with Simai, so he's saying that there is a situation where Kiddushin could grab, according to this, because he's not saying a blanket statement. He holds that Rabbi Akiva wasn't saying a blanket statement on every type of Isser, even Chayvei Asay. We didn't speak about Asay. Until now, we're talking about Lavim. But even Chayvei Asay, what's a Chayvei Asay? Something, let's see what we have here. Oh, this is just Yoshi's thing. Meaning, and if Kiddushin is not toifus, if it doesn't grab, then the kid is a mamzer. Rabbi Simai says that Rabbi Akiva is what we just said. That Rabbi Akiva made everybody a mamzer besides an almana l'kohen gadol. Rabbi Sheva says everybody's a mamzer, even chayve asay. So this is what the Gemara has a problem with. Chayve asay would mean even, let's say, a mitzri and a doimi, that sort of thing. Over here just goes to show the difference between time and nafshei and lafuke. Everybody's a mamzer, even chayve asay, so therefore nothing grabs. It's green because there's no kiddushin. It didn't happen. Or I call mamzer chutz m'chayve asay, then it grabs. Okay. So I'm just showing here in the pasuk. It says bonim asher yivodu lahem dor shlishi yavay lahem b'kal Hashem. There's a positive commandment there. In other words, the pasuk is saying that a mitzri and a doimi after 3 generations yavay lahem. You should marry them. You could marry them. It's a positive. And from a positive, I learn a negative. That what? That if it's not the 3rd generation, then it's us to marry them. So that's a lava bomachlala say. That's a vera to marry a 2nd generation because the Torah says marry a 3rd generation. It's just a diuk. I'm inferring from the fact that you can marry a 3rd generation that a 2nd generation you cannot. So this is really an assay. It's a mitzvah assay, which I learned an avera from a lav. So says the Gemara like this. If he's trying to argue on Rabbi Simai, then it's good because I could say that we're referring to all the mitzvah say this pasuk, and that's what it's saying that the Kiddushin grabs in the case of an assay. What's the case of an assay again? Marrying a mitzri. It's an assay, not a lav. But if he's not arguing Rabbi Simai, you're just saying, listen, I know what my Rabbi Kiva said. Rabbi Kiva said a blanket statement that every single isser in the Torah, I don't care if it's an essay, I don't care if it's a lav, I don't care if it's a rayas, I don't care if it's a karas misa. Every type of isser marriage, the kid is a mamzer. If that's the case, even what kind of case does he have that the Torah is telling us that this marriage is hated by Hashem, that there is a marriage? According to you, there's 0 cases of a Isser marriage that the marriage grabs. Says the Gemara, there is one case. Bibu'ula l'kohen gadol. Look at this pasuk over here. V'hu isha b'psula yikach. We know that a kohen gadol could only marry a psula, and if he marries a be'ula, the Kiddushin grabs. That's what they're saying. The Kiddushin grabs. What happened? Why are you showing it on your phone? It's not working on YouTube? Zog the Gemara. But my kohen gadol. That what? That the kohen gadol marries a non-psula. In that case, even though Rabbi Kiva holds that every single Isser marriage there's no Kiddushin, over here the Kiddushin grabs. One case. Umayshna. Why is it that by a mitzri and by everything else he says it doesn't grab, and that by a be'ula he says it does grab? It's a very weak kind of avera. It's an avera for only one person in the entire world. When you have an avera that's equal to all Klal Yisrael, we cannot marry a married woman, we cannot marry our sister. Okay, so it's a strong avera. You're saying it's one person in the world, Mr. Kohen Gadol, Rabbi Kohen Gadol, the Galadar, whatever you want to call it, is now marry a be'ula. So it's an avera for him. So it's a weaker avera. Says the Gemara v'Rabbanan. Rabbanan. We started the sugya, just to repeat quickly. He said there's a kalchaimer from a Yavama that she's only a Isser Lav, marrying her, right? Lysia Eishes HaMesa Chutza, it says that she's not allowed to marry anybody, Lav, and her Kiddushin doesn't grab. There was no Kiddushin on her. So certainly by other arayas. And then the Gemara says, the Gemara shlugs up the Kalchaimer. What about? So the Gemara says we have the pasuk of the interesting pasuk that a person has 2 wives, one he hates and one he loves. Great. Chayvi lavim, we learn from Kisiya Leish Zar, Kisiya Leish Shnei Nashim. Yeah. So it says the Gemara again. We have a pasuk that says a person married a woman that he loves and a person he hates, and the Gemara says it means Hashem hates her. Why does Hashem hate her? Because she's a chayiv lavim. He shouldn't have married her. There's an isser lav for her to marry her. Ask the Gemara, based on that, who told you to say pshat that Hashem hates her because she wasn't allowed to marry him? because there's a lav. Maybe Hashem hates her. She wasn't allowed to marry him because there's an asay, like a mitzri and a daimi. Says Gemara, okay, good, granted. Let's think about it. Let's take it to the next step. Let's think it out. It's a good kasha, but tell me the exact case. I want to know what the case is. How? If the two wives are both mitzrim, he went to Egypt, picked up two wives. So it's not one that he loves and one that he hates. Hashem hates both. So, okay, so he married a regular Jew and a non-Jew. That can't be either. It says, it should say, what's shtei? From the word shtei nashim, we learn that they're both from the same category. Whatever they are. If they're both mitzrim, they're mitzrim. That can't be mitzrim because they're both hated. So they're both Jews. So then why does Hashem hate one? Okay, I have a case. Case of Kohen Gadol has one wife, which is a psula, and one wife is a bu'ula. It says kisiyena leish. Any individual, any Yisrael. This is not a halacha pasuk ki seitze that's talking about a kohen. Fine. The Gemara says Rabbi Kiva has a problem. You're right. It doesn't fit in so well into the pasuk. We just ask questions. Shtei nashim seems like one nation. It can't be this way. But at the end of the day, Rabbi Kiva has no way out of it. So he'll have to say, he'll have to use a tchak. Okay, next sugya, brand new sugya. Chol mi she'ein lo olav, that if there's zero Kiddushin, zero anything, like marrying a guy, then the kid, what does the Mishnah say? Chol mi she'ein lo yilachem Kiddushin, avla kemoisa. Then the kid is like the woman. And what are the two cases? A shifcha and a guy. How do you know a shifcha knanis, that the kid goes after the woman? Check this out, boys. Beautiful piece of art. I'm not going to explain it. If you understand it, you understand it. But let's just say these are the people that build the construction workers in Eretz Yisrael. Because it says in the pasuk Shvulachem poi im hachamor. Avram Avinu tells Elazar and Yishmael, sit here with the donkey. What's the difference with the donkey without the donkey? Sit here. Sit here with the car. That's not how you speak. Say, wait for me over here on this corner. Wait for me with the car. Why with the car? So im hachamor, Avram Avinu is trying to tell them that look what he did over here. He changed the chirik to a patach. It's am hachamor. The eved is considered as a donkey. Am hadoim lechamor. Ashkelon loitafse b'kiddushin. So shifcha, there's no kiddushin. Why? She's not a nation. She's more. Could you marry a donkey? If you give a donkey a ring, it's a good kiddushin. Just you have to get divorced? No, it's zero. So same thing with the shifcha. So Ashkelon loitafse b'kiddushin. Daf Samachet Amud Beis. How do you know that she gets to decide that the kid is a eved? Maybe the kid is a Jewish kid. That we're talking about an eved ivri whose master gives him a shifcha, right? That's a possible. The master is allowed to give him a shifcha, and the Torah is telling us that when he decides to go home, when he's released, he doesn't get the kids. The kids remain as slaves to the master. So you see that the kids don't go after the Jew. The Jewish father goes after the non-Jewish mother. Not just a non-Jew. We're talking about a slave here. Now we're talking about a non-Jew. How do you know that if a person marries a non-Jew, that's what I was saying yesterday with Shimshon Pinkos, marry a non-Jew, then a part of you becomes non-Jewish. That your children are non-Jews. You shouldn't marry them. There's no marriage. Bum. Says how do you know? Like we say, ask by Shiva, how do you know that the kid goes after the non-Jew? It's Nervayim today in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, it's not such a problem because it's very hard to find a non-Jew and etc. But Israelis that come to America, even here in Chicago, I know firsthand, they have zero. They're not even aware of this idea. It used to be like a very strong thing. Don't intermarry. Israelis befrat don't have this concept anymore. They come here to America, they intermarry. It's mamash chabal. The generations of yidden are being lost. Yosef is bincha ma'acharai. Bincha, the Torah warns a grandfather and he says, don't allow your son to marry a non-Jew. Why? Yosef is bincha ma'acharai. Bincha abom Yisrael is kori bincha. Vein bincha abom menavez kechavim kori bincha elabana. The Torah is talking only one case. That if you let your daughter marry a non-Jew, the non-Jew is going to teach him how to be non-Jewish. The Torah doesn't say if you allow your son to marry, because the Torah does talk about it, but it doesn't warn you that if you let your son marry a non-Jew, that she is going to convince the kid to be a guy. Why? Because it's too late anyway. Her kid is a non-Jew. Kid is a guy, not a Jew. But I'm warning you, son, you daughter, don't let your daughter marry the guy, because in that case, the kid is a Jew. But I'm warning you, grandfather, that what's going to happen is, or father-in-law in this case, your kid is going to be persuaded to the other religion or whatever. Now, I mentioned this a while ago. I'll mention it again. There's a Marit al-Ghazi that everybody argues on. He holds that if like today, Yad La'achim struggles with it, it's a terrible thing because certain people, they know how to talk very nicely. They work in these stores, and Be'ez Hashem, it's going to stop. A lot of it is going to stop because a lot of what happened on Sebasti is because of information that they gathered. People, they smile at you, and I was over on it also. I had a lot of workers that came from there, and they talk nicely, and they know. So they meet these girls, Jewish girls that are down and depressed in the malls. They go over to them, they give them compliments and this and that, and they end up marrying Arabs from this, and they bring them there. They torture them, they beat them up, they do terrible things. Their job is to come and save them. Marit al-Ghazi says that if they have a kid and the kid grows up in Shechem somewhere, then the Marit al-Ghazi holds that they have a halacha of a guy, even though the Torah says not. But everybody argues with him. If the kid is brought up, why? So someone explained in the Marit al-Ghazi, because Baruch Hu loves his children. Baruch Hu doesn't want to torture this poor guy, so to speak. This never. He grew up in a certain way with a different religion. I can't come after him. He's doing all these isurim. He's mechal Shabbos, everything that they do. So how can you come to Betaina and try to punish him? That's how they try to explain the Marit al-Ghazi. I'll go upon him. I'm just saying, I'm prefacing it that nobody agrees with him. La halacha, they're considered 100% Jewish, and it's a mitzvah to save them and to bring them back. Fine. Omar Avinu. Omar Avinu, Shmamino ben bitcha aboa min ha'ovid kechavim, korui bincha. Yeah, it's a little bit that you see from here that the son of your daughter, that the daughter married a guy, is considered your son, and he's completely Jewish. Is it possible that Ravina holds that a guy who had relations with a Jewish woman, the kid is considered a mamzer? Says Gemara, he the kosher lehava. At the end of the day, you're right. He's not considered kosher, mamzer lehava. Possible mikra, he's considered only possible. Says the Gemara, you're not allowed to marry them. Think about it. These are people you're supposed to destroy. Hashem said when you come into Israel, don't let them stay alive. And like as usual, when the Jews have rachmanas in the wrong place, after the tzivim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, those are the people that came up and got us. Yeah? L'Rav, huh? If you have rachmanas, yeah, it's not just him. I think the Rebbe also said it. No, there's a lot of people that.
Rebbe says
no, huh? No, it's just it's a baya. Give back. I don't know what they were thinking back then. Everybody said, "What are you doing? Giving them the whole thing." What are the chances they're going to take what you gave them and be mentioned about it? They're going to take it and shoot missiles from there. I'll go upon him. Says the Gemara, but your whole pasuk that says that marriage doesn't grab at all is talking about the Shiva Umais. The Knanan, the Yivus, and the Chivim, the Shiva Umais. Who told you that a German, an American, this, that, the Kiddushin doesn't grab? Who told you? Says Gemara, Omakra, Ki Yosef's bincha. We're darshaning time of the Kra. The pasuk is explaining to us. What's the problem with the Shiva Umais? That they are going to steer your grandchild away from Torah. Tavei de Zara. The rabbis call him a Syrian. It happens to be that the Shiva Umais were really aduk in Avodah Zarah. They had a big problem with Avodah Zarah, a lot more than other people. There was a bunch of Jews that were walking by a church, and it said over there, there's a big sign. It says, if you convert to the religion, we'll give you a nice sum of money. So all of a sudden, one of the guys, he couldn't control himself. He walks into the church. A few minutes later, he comes out. He looked like one of them. So one of the guys says to him, "How much do they pay you?" He says, "You Jews, all you care about is money." Okay, fine. He's gonna convince him to go off. The rabbis call him a seer. So therefore, you can use the svara of the Torah for all goyim. Says Gemara, the Dorish time of the Kra. We say this, and we'll say it again, and Rashi goes to the Arichos once again. The famous case of a mashkin. If you take a mashkin from somebody, you lend somebody money, and you say, "Give me something in return. Give me your license. Give me your watch. Give me." So it says, don't take. You take a pillow. You have to give it back every night when the person needs a pillow. But if she's an almana, you have a problem. People are going to talk about you. They're going to say, "Why are you going to her house in the night, in the morning? You keep on going, picking up the." They don't know that it's the pillow. You're going to think you're doing something fishy. So don't. Shub Shimon says, "Oh, that's only if she's poor, because the Torah said there's a problem. But if she's very wealthy, she doesn't need the pillow at night. So then you could take a mashkin." So he's Dorish time of the crow. He tries to tell you the reason behind the mitzvah and the avera. The reason is because people are choshed you, and if I don't have the chashad, he's the one that's Dorish time of the crow. Reb Chaim Kanevsky once lent somebody money, and he says, "Give me a mashkin." So the guy says, "What's your?" He says, "Give me your hat." So, okay, your hat. And then he said, "Look, I want to be mekayim the mitzvah of giving it back to you at night, because right now certain things you give back at night because you need the pajamas you give back at night. But what about a hat? Now you're going to go daven mincha, so I'm going to give you the hat." In other words, you're trying to be mekayim a mitzvah that's very hard to be mekayim. Here's something, I took an object from you that you need it. You're not going to go buy a new hat now. So I'm giving it back to you. I'm mekayim that mitzvah. Fine. I'll call upon him. It says like this. Why is the Kiddushin of another nation not chal? Because you're darshaning the reasoning behind it, that they're gonna, no matter what the nation is, they're gonna steer your son away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. El Rabbanan, who don't agree with, you can't just darshan pshat and pasuk. My time. The goymer. I love when the Gemara does this. I don't know if I put it in here. Let me see. Yeah, okay. The V'goymer is the most important part of this pasuk. Something. Huh? Oh, how about now? Okay. V'achak means nothing, but v'hoisel lecha liisha. First, I sometimes I don't get it, because the word V'goymer also takes up a bunch of. You trying to save ink. V'goymer is a whole word because it's just a v'hoisel for the same price. Fine. I guess everybody knows this pasuk by heart. But the point is v'haisa. What does the word v'haisa mean? Remy, you know what it means. V'haisa means Kiddushin. So After you take the sifas toyar, you went to war, you found this woman that you want to marry, so you have to do a whole procedure, let her grow nails, her hair, this, that, 30 days. And then it says, after the whole procedure, then you could marry her. And from this I learned the Mikor Kiddushin. There was no v'haisa before the 30 days. The zero Kiddushin on a regular non-Jew. Forget about the Shiva, all nations. Says Gemara, Kiddushin. Great, I understand that the Kiddushin is not chal. On the same question we had twice before. This is the third time. And how do you know that if you do marry her, the kid is not Jewish? Anytime there's Kiddushin, then it's his children. When there's no Kiddushin, like we said, by a non-Jew, then it's not your children. If so, if you marry a shivcha where there's no kiddushin, then it shouldn't be your children. So how come the Gemara used a different pasuk before? The Gemara says, right? Different pasuk. Learn from here that every non-Jew, it's not his kids. It's only his kids when it's good kiddushin. By shivcha, there's no good kiddushin. You're right. I can learn shivcha from here. But then the problem is, that's the pasuk we used before. What are you going to do with that pasuk? Look at the sanya. Says the Gemara Daf Samach Tesam Dal on top. If you tell your shivcha who's pregnant, says Rashi. What? Let's see. Okay, that's it. Fine. Shkoyach. So if a person tells the shivcha, I want to make a deal with you. You are pregnant now, and I'm releasing you, but I want your child to remain my slave. Havlat kemoisa doesn't work. It doesn't work. So that's why I need now. That's what the pasuk tells me. It doesn't work. Sorry, this pasuk. The pasuk is chacham. Well, we'll see in a second. My Talmudah. How do you see from this pasuk? No, it's not for Rabbanan. The pasuk is for Rabbi Yosef Glili. That even if I'm going to release you and you become Jewish, but your kid that's in utero, she's still pregnant. That kid is going to remain the master's, and that's the big chiddush. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.